The Phoenician Scheme is the latest from director Wes Anderson, someone who I've always had a great appreciation for. With another star-studded cast and his usual band of collaborators, they look to create another fantastic film. But where does this film line up with the rest of Wes Anderson's filmography? And does it have a chance to become the second of his films to appear on the leaderboard? The story follows business tycoon Zsa Zsa Kandor, who has just survived yet another plane crash. Though he is the fifth richest person in Europe, his life seems to be in constant peril, and he starts making plans to pass off his empire to his only daughter, who is in the process of becoming a nun. Zsa Zsa is played by Benecio del Toro, and his daughter is played by newcomer Mia Threapleton. And as they go along the story in a traditional Wes Anderson chapter format, they meet with business associates and family, all played by some of the finest actors. Without fail, Wes Anderson movies will always have the most exceptional cast. I don't want to ruin the details of who is who and the circumstances that bring them to Zsa Zsa, but needless to say, we get exceptional performances from Willem Dafoe, F. Murray Abraham, Bill Murray, Michael Cera, Bryan Cranston, Tom Hanks, Riz Ahmed, Jeffrey Wright, Scarlett Johansson, and Benedict Cumberbatch. It really is such a gift that so many actors, all of whom could and have been the lead of major motion pictures, are all playing what are in effect small supporting roles. I left one name off that list, and he's not on the same level star power wise as the rest of the names I mentioned, but I was so excited to see Richard Ayoade in this film, and I'm so excited to hear that he will be co-writing the next film with Wes Anderson and Roman Coppola. I have always been a really big fan of Richard Ayoade, and I think he has a rare combination of being exceptionally funny, and I think he got his proper shot being an incredible dramatic actor as well. He only had a small part in this, and again, withholding details, but he really brought it, and I would be excited to see more opportunities from him to do larger roles in future Wes Anderson movies, and given their collaboration, I would hope that to be the case. The show is largely anchored by Benicio del Toro and Mia Threapleton, as they both do incredible work. I had never seen her in anything before, but it made a lot of sense when I learned that she was the daughter of Kate Winslet. I don't need to heap undue praise on Benicio, because we all know his talent. And while this isn't the single greatest performance of his career, it is right in line with the high standard that we expect from him. But to pair him with an unknown 23-year-old, even one with the lineage that Mia has, could have been a big gamble, and I am happy to report that gamble paid off. Mia Threapleton is a revelation. She is incredible in this movie, and she carries a poise and an ability to work alongside a murderer's row of incredible actors and still maintain an aura and radiance. The thing that makes it really absolutely incredible is given it's Wes Anderson's movie where characters are louder and more zany than normal movie characters, it could really expose any holes in her acting abilities. And that is not a criticism, but merely pointing out that most mere mortals take time to develop their ability to not only be a talented actor, but to perform on camera in a way that makes people want to watch you. In this movie, Mia is largely playing it straight, and everyone else around her is a zany character. And for her to stand out, to be the subject of your attention in every scene, is something that would be difficult for almost any other actor I named earlier. Many of them who started young, became stars quickly, and would still have trouble doing this role even 10 years into their careers. I've never seen an actor in their first major role do this, and it's worth seeing. I know there are some of you who are furiously typing nepotism in the comments right now, and I don't disagree all the time, but this time I do. She certainly had an easier time getting noticed than another actor without an Oscar lineage, but she is clearly exceptional. Her castmate, Tom Hanks, has a son, Colin, who acts. He's really good. He usually enhances the shows he's in, and he has an award-winning lineage too. But he is as talented as his father. Again, that's not a slight. It's incredibly difficult to be one of the 100 greatest actors of all time. I need and want to see Mia Threapleton and more, and right now she looks like she could win an Oscar, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was for this. She is a phenom. That doesn't usually happen, even when everything lines up for you. One more additional attaboy for Benedict Cumberbatch, who was amazing in his part. I really only wish that there was significantly more of it, because it could have been special to have that character throughout more of the story. Wes Anderson, as always, remains consistent stylistically and always manages to turn in an entertaining and worthwhile effort. If you're not a Wes Anderson fan, I don't think this movie is any different than any other Wes Anderson movies, and I believe that you can skip it. What I've always appreciated about his style is that it is easy to imitate, as you can see from comedy skits and other places where they have taken inspiration. However, they never quite land the same magic that Wes is able to do, and in my heart, I believe it's because Wes Anderson is one of our great directors. One of the things I find most interesting across the dozen films in his filmography is that there has not been one that is like a bad film or a major disappointment. It's kind of rare to find such consistency like you do across his works. If you ask me, where Phoenician Scheme ranks among his other films, I would say it's in the bottom quarter for sure, probably lumped in with the recent projects like Asteroid City and The French Dispatch. No criticism though, because like I mentioned, I think all of his films are at the very least good. Beyond the directing end, the dialogue is exceptional as always. He wrote this with frequent collaborator Roman Coppola, and it provides the language and rhythm we come to expect out of a Wes Anderson film. The characters are all interesting and the scenes work. The one thing in this film, and all the films going back to French Dispatch, is that the stakes and the drama inherent to the stories are often very shallow. And more often than not, the main driving point of the film doesn't feel like enough to be a movie unless it was a Wes Anderson movie. The movie is a businessman who is experiencing a sudden price increase and trying to convince his partners across various projects to assume some of the cost overruns with him. If I went to Warner Brothers, for example, and I said, I have a great script with a story about cost overruns, I think I would get laughed at. We are at the point now where Wes Anderson has the ability to get all his movies funded because we know he will bring along a star-studded cast and make it for a reasonable budget and be able to profit off of it. All that is great. All that is expected of a director. And I'm not criticizing Wes or the movies because they made money. And I think there is a higher level here that can be reached. And the movies are entertaining and I like them. I'm often leaving hoping for a little bit more. I'm starting to wonder if the best thing for Wes at this point is if he should consider having a character that breaks from the world of Wes Anderson as we're used to it. I heard all the stories from Wes around the film's release about Zsa Zsa being this ruthless businessman, an unstoppable force, and I don't think that Zsa Zsa is that. At the end of the day, you can only be as ruthless as the world around you will allow you to be, and a Wes Anderson movie simply isn't the venue for a ruthless businessman. The characters that work best in the worlds are often these whimsical figures and not a character with a substantial edge. For being a ruthless businessman, Zsa Zsa is actually a terrible businessman. But we all enjoy watching Benicio del Toro with the witty dialogue and all the zaniness that this movie provides. This also removes the drama and the stakes because very early on you realize that Zsa Zsa is not going to get what he wants because he is an exceptional businessman, but more because of happenstance. I like to think that Wes is toying with the idea of breaking character in a story and maybe watching the chaos that unfolds because of it. In the opening scene, there is a moment that is a shocking moment that is unlike what you would usually expect to see from Wes Anderson. And it made me think that perhaps this movie would be a little bit different and use language of Wes Anderson's filmography against the viewer and challenge them in a new and unusual way. It really sat with me because at the end of Asteroid City, when it goes backstage with the actor and for the play, and it felt like it was a different movie, and some of the feeling that I thought I might be getting in the opening of this movie. It felt like it might be some connective tissue between the last two. But when the movie played on, like a usual Wes Anderson movie, it made me wonder if Wes was willing to abandon his own style and break from it to tell a different type of story. I'm sure there are some of you who are hearing all this and wondering why I would suggest that Wes Anderson make a film that doesn't feel like a Wes Anderson movie, because for so long, all the movies shared similar language, characters, and world building. I'm not suggesting he break it just to break it. I merely think that there are, at the high end, maybe 15 directors living now who are capable of delivering the greatest movie we've ever seen. A new Citizen Kane, a new Godfather, something that is so clearly divine. I don't even think if you asked Wes if he aspired to make the greatest movie, he would say he wanted to. More likely, he would say that he wanted to make the best version of the story he's telling. I am perfectly fine watching any movie he wants to because I am probably going to enjoy it. But there is a part of me that is disappointed when someone has the talent, the ability, plus the knack for assembling award-winning actors, and doesn't ask, what can I do that I'm not exploring? There is an animated short that has been stuck in my head for the last 25 years called Rejected by Don Hertzfeldt. And in the beginning, you have all these cute animated characters, and, they're cute and doing very happy, fun things. But throughout the short, there are references to the artist's mental decline. And as it happens, it plays out in the most preposterous ways that feel so antithetical to the happy-go-lucky spirit of the beginning of the short. I've thought a lot about it since I watched this movie, because if you went into a Wes Anderson movie and felt like a Wes Anderson movie, and then suddenly in the middle it started to make a shift and it didn't look the same as it had before, and the language changes and it feels new and exciting, for the audience it could be something very special. We've reached the final chapter, the one where the leaderboard appears. I hope that anyone who listens to this review knows that my point here is never to criticize, but merely think about these films from a larger perspective, and individual reviews as an exploration of a particular piece. I always enjoy my time watching Wes Anderson films. I thoroughly enjoyed Phoenician Scheme. Would I say it's going to be nominated for Best Picture? No. But that's not the end all and be all of whether or not a movie is enjoyable and worthy of seeing. I give the Phoenician Scheme a 7.4. It's great to be in this world that has been created for us with so many incredible actors and a world-class director, though you would think if I said that sentence in regards to any other filmmaker, I would have given the movie a higher score. If I told you I had a story about a ruthless businessman and had a cast of this movie, and it was directed by Tarantino or Cameron or any other directors on Wes's level, you would think it would be in the 8s or in the 9s. Wes Anderson has an 8.9 on the leaderboard. He just didn't quite reach it this time. I still enjoyed it. I would still happily watch it again. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you haven't gotten the chance yet to see the first episode of Roadshow, I just released it on the channel last week, and I explained why every filmmaker should think about attending the NAB conference in Las Vegas. I would recommend you check it out and let me know what you think. And until next time, have a wonderful day.